Hello and welcome. You're watching UATV News with me, Ksenia Buhay. First, at this hour, Russia transfers military equipment into non-government control areas of Donetsk and Luhansk regions of Ukraine. This is the information provided by the Chief Directorate of Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense. Apart from weaponry, Russian Federation has provided the illegal armed groups with munitions and fuel.
Since the beginning of September, about 1,200 tons of fuel, 6 wagons and more than 10 trucks of anti-tank mines and ammunition, including munitions for artillery systems, have been brought from Russia to the temporary occupied territories of Luhansk and Donetsk regions through the sectors beyond the governmental control on Ukraine's border with Russia.
Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba has warned the Russian Federation against further destabilization of Belarus. A relevant statement was made during an urgent debate on Belarus at the 45th session of the UN Human Rights Council.
We warn the Russian Federation against taking steps that may lead to undermining political sovereignty of Belarus and thus destabilizing the wider region. Ukraine remains committed to good neighborly relations with the people of Belarus based on respect for democratic values, rule of law and human rights.
Hundreds of Hasidic pilgrims leave the Belarus-Ukraine border after being stopped by COVID-19 restrictions. They were trying to reach the central Ukrainian city of Uman to celebrate the Rosh Hashanah. The Jewish New Year begins today's night. From this moment and for the next 2 days, the Hasidim are forbidden to do anything, including moving around. Therefore, those who did not manage to leave the checkpoint will have to stay in place for a few more days. Verkhovna Rada is going to restart granting baby boxes to new parents. The initiative of the Ministry of Social Policy to replace the kits for newborn with financial assistance has proven inefficient. The department is confident that parents should have a choice whether to receive a baby box or prefer its monetary equivalent.
People's deputies intend to resume granting of the baby boxes. Today the bill was supported by 316 parliamentaries in the first reading. They say that the initiative of monetization proposed by the Ministry of Social Policy is a disadvantage to parents. After all, there were more goods in the baby box than its cash equivalent of $178.5. The state gives you $178.5, for which you can actually buy less goods than in this package. Because when there are wholesale purchases, the price goes down. If you buy 600 overalls, they will cost less than one. Therefore, parents will receive less for this money. The Ministry of Social Policy believes that young parents have to choose what they need more, a baby box or money. That is why officials promised to improve the bill by the second reading.
This is a pilot project that started on September 1. We also ordered 3 studies, how cash grant and goods assistance both affect a family. Accordingly, we need some time to understand whether it is useful or not.
In Ukraine, more than 22,000 payment cards have already been issued to enable getting baby boxes compensation for parents. Under a pilot project, they will get the possibility to assemble baby box kits to their own liking. For this, a special internet platform will be launched soon. It will present a list of companies that offer children's goods for reasonable prices. Reported by Yulia Krychkova, UATV News.
$12 million tons of plastic get into global ocean every year. Ukraine suffers from pollution of water bodies as well. According to the Minister of Environmental Protection and Natural Resources, in order to help solve this global problem, the Parliament is now working on a new bill aimed to reform the waste management system in Ukraine.
In this draft law, they implement European values. The document presents the hierarchy of waste management, starting from prevention of waste, excessive information, to its land disposal. We aim to reduce the amount of landfilling by 1/3. In the future, this standard will be improved. In other words, we want to split waste into recyclable and non-recyclable terms, items that can be reused.
Vinnytsia is the capital of electric transport in Ukraine. Out of 500,000 citizens, more than 1,500 people own green cars. To power these, over 50 charging stations operate in the city.
Instead of refueling nozzle, Anatoly inserts a plug into the socket which substitutes a conventional fuel tank of an ordinary car. The man bought an electric car 2 years ago. According to his calculations, it is cheaper to travel by such kind of transport than by marshrutka, a commercial commuter. He says that he pays for 1 kilowatt of electricity less than 60 cents. At night, the tariff is half off.
At which gas station can you buy gasoline half the price? Such a Golf consumes approximately 20 kilowatts of electricity. It costs 6 cents here, which makes $1.15 total. For $1.50, how far can we go by marshrutka? In this car, I can drive over 150 kilometers. If to get to work and home only, the charge is enough for 3 days, without recharging.
While driving his green vehicle, Anatoly saves not only on fuel but also on consumables: filters, engine oils and spark plugs.
No engine, no gearbox, no exhaust system, which are the parts that most often go down in a gasoline car.
There are more than 50 charging stations in Vinnytsia. These are displayed on the city map. Eco-motorists can easily check all the necessary parameters in the relevant mobile application.
In Vinnytsia, already about 50.
Starting from 2016, most charging stations were installed by electric vehicles owners at their own expense, says Irina. She's been driving an electric car for 5 years.
At that time, even this class of charging stations were not available yet, and today it produces about 40 kilowatts, so you can charge 3 cars at a time.
Vinnytsia residents are hopeful that in the nearest future, green autos will become much more affordable, and Ukraine will gradually switch to sustainable transportation with zero harm to the environment.
No sound, no dust.
Arina Kantenistova, Vitaly Demets, Vinnytsia, UATV News.
100,000 tourists will annually replenish the country's budget by almost $1.5 million. In 5 years, Ukraine may become a real esports mecca. To achieve this, it is necessary to create an infrastructure for holding tournaments in this sport. Plans on opening modern facilities, especially designed for these kind of activities, have been voiced by the head of Ukrainian Professional Esports Association.
We want esports to become an elective subject or even a major discipline in schools and universities. We like to introduce master's and bachelor's degrees in esports. In specific terms, we want to conduct studies that would enable esportsmen to become faster, stronger, more effective, and improve their cognitive abilities.
The first nationwide tournament of this season, the Ukrainian Figure Skating Cup, has finished in Kyiv. Our correspondent learned everything about the athletes, their programs, plans and expectations.
Ukraine's latest champion, 18-year-old Ivan Shkuratko from Kyiv, strives to get the highest possible marks and is not afraid to perform quadruple jumps in his program. Actually, the technical side of his performance needs certain improvement, but his opponent don't even try such complex elements in their programs.
I set the task of kinda competing with myself, with my own programs, so that I can perform flawlessly and confidently and nice for both myself and others to get pleasure for it.
At the tournament, Kharkiv athletes has no equals in ice dance. Skaters from Kyiv, Maria Hlubtsova and Kirilo Belobrov, got bronze medals. Last season's winners, Alexandra Nazarova and Maxim Nikitin from Kharkiv, have won the competition once again. They are looking forward to resuming the international tournament soon.
We have already planned 3 starts, but 2 out of these got cancelled, so it's hard to say. We are getting ready for competitions, but nothing is clear. We had set a goal for this cup, then trained for it and performed. We will continue to do our best.
In pair skating, there was only one dude participating in the cup. Figure skaters from Dmytro, Artem Darinsky and Sofia Holichenko. They formed up a pair only 3 months ago, and due to the lack of competition, they have won the current tournament. Reported by Yulia Krychkova, UATV News.
An architectural masterpiece that points the way to ships. The tallest maritime object in Ukraine, STANISLAV-ADZHYHOL lighthouse, got depicted on stamps. The brand new postmarks have been put into circulation. Our correspondent witnessed the event.
The tallest lighthouse in Ukraine, STANISLAV-ADZHYHOL, is located near the village of Rybalskie in the southeast of the Dnipro estuary.
STANISLAV-ADZHYHOL is a rare leading beacon. Why? Because in front of it the Adzyhovsky lighthouse is located. These two were built in 1911 at the same time by an outstanding engineer academician Volodymyr Hrygorovich Shukhov. These maritime objects ensure the safety of sailors on the first track of the Kherson Sea Canal.
Not only the lighthouse points the way to ships, the structure is also used to study the history of engineering. After all, the ADZHYHOL lighthouse has an unusual design. Open-work metal towers. Volodymyr has been working as a lighthouse keeper for more than 30 years. Over this period of time, he says a lot has changed here.
Progress is moving forward. There used to be diesel generators that worked every night, and since 2007, an autonomous power supply system, solar panels, have been installed.
The lighthouse is 1.5 kilometers of the coast. In summer, the staff gets here by boat, and in winter, walking on the ice.
Sometimes the wind is so heavy that one just cannot stay here. The rough sea splashes and overflows quite fiercely.
Local authorities are going to open the lighthouse for tourists. Since it is a strategic object, visitors will need to get briefed before the tour.
Next year, from May to September, you're welcome. We invite you to visit our lighthouse.
The ADZHYHOL lighthouse has been depicted on new postal stamps. These were symbolically put into circulation right here, at the lighthouse.
This is the first ever launch of the stamp that took place on the water. The circulation is 25,000 copies, and I'm sure that it will be the high demand. In about a month, the stamps will most probably remain only in private collections.
All 6 Ukrainian lighthouses have been depicted on the newly printed postmarks. Each one tells about the era when the relevant maritime object was built. Yanina Lebedeva, Serhiy Temchinsky, Kherson region, UATV News.
That was our final story this hour. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. More updates on our official website, YouTube, Facebook and Twitter pages.